Obviously, here at the Nuclear Warfare Museum, we try to not only show the missiles themselves, but also the environment used to operate and to fire them. This example here is an exhibit of the Minot Air Force Base Missile Codes Computer Vault. The vault itself that's been recreated here is based on the image to my right, which is one of the only known images taken of the actual codes computer, which at the time was highly classified at Minot Air Force Base in North Dakota. Next to me on my left is the insignia for the 91st Missile Wing, to which this exhibit is attributed. Both our Minuteman missile silo, which you will see coming up, as well as this exhibit, and our LCC launch facility, which is also coming up, are dedicated to the 91st Missile Wing. We also have some more pictures of different launch facilities and different areas of interest in our little introduction gallery here. The one behind me is a 10-ton blast door used to gain access to a Minuteman launch control capsule. And then next to that, we have a picture looking into the capsule, and you can see one of the missileers standing in the doorway. The blast door in that little doorway is 8 tons and can only be opened from inside the capsule. So even if a terrorist were to get all the way into the capsule, they would never be able to get through that blast door. On the far wall next to the door, we have 3 images. The first is a Titan II missile in its silo. The second are 2 maintenance men standing next to a Minuteman II, which we will see later on. And then the third one is the entrance to Minot Air Force Base with the base motto, "Only the best come north." So follow me as we take a trip into the, at one time, highly classified Missile Codes Computer Vault. Coming up to the door, this is a Class A1 vault area, so you only get in here if you need to get in here. Necessity counts, boys and girls. The first thing that you would do is you have to verify that you are secure, that no one is holding you hostage, basically. And this is in case a terrorist were to hold you at gunpoint and try to get into the facility. So what you would do is you would pick up the phone to the left of the door there, and an officer would answer, or a security officer would answer on the other end saying, state your intentions. And I would respond with, I need to gain entry into the vault area. And then I would be asked if I was under any duress. Are you secure and under no duress? And I would respond with, yes, I'm secure and under no duress. As you can see, we have the warning signs. Use of deadly force is authorized beyond this point, and you are subject to search. So essentially, it's like going through an airport security gate, only much more highly classified. So we open the door, or the door is unlocked for us from the inside, and it opens. Okay, and then we enter, and the door is immediately shut behind us. And you can look above and you see a sign that has a couple of questions for you. The first is, have you remembered your locks? That means, have you remembered to close the door behind you? Have you remembered to make sure all of your person is secure and all locks have been secured? And then the second question has to do with Air Force Designation Directive 104, which is the 2-man rule. If you were in a secure area, such as a capsule or a silo, or anything where classified information is concerned, there always has to be 2 men who are of equal security clearance and knowledge of the facility. So that way you are never out of sight of another person. So there's no chance for you to steal anything or to do anything wrong. So the gate would be unlocked, and we open up the gate, and then we can go through. The first thing that you will encounter is this desk right here, which is the security guard post. There would be somebody standing here literally 24/7. So you think about this facility being in operation for 20, 30 years. There was a guy standing here 24/7 for 30 years. It gives you an idea of how serious they were. So the red phone here is connected directly to the outside phone as well as to base security. And all transmissions obviously are recorded. We have a few emblems up here on the wall for you to see. The 526th IBM system or ICBM Systems Group, which operated this facility, as well as the 91st Missile Wing, the 91st Operations Group, which was part of the 20th Air Force. And then the squadrons that we are looking at here are the 742nd, 741st, and 740th missile squadrons. We also have some images of the heads of the Air Force, the current heads of the Air Force. So moving on, one thing I want you guys to pay attention is these two mirrors. You see them, one here and one at the opposite end. The idea for this was to make sure that there are no blind spots in the room. This is so that nobody can hide. When you get in here, there is no hiding area. You can't escape eyesight of either the security desk or another officer in the room. Only code controllers are allowed in this area. Okay. On the board here, we have a map of the missile sites that are under the control of Minot Air Force Base. As you can see, they are spread out very far, and this is to avoid all of them being taken out in a single first strike attack. It actually was the case that if you were a missileer and you were headed to your launch capsule, you would probably have to drive as much as 100 miles to get to where you needed to go every day. So it was quite a big commute to work. We also have a threat or a maintenance board on here that shows every single missile under the control of Minot Air Force Base and their status, whether they're down for maintenance or whether they're being moved, etc. We also have record stations. These are each of the code controllers, one for A group and one for B group, and I'll discuss that in a moment, would have their own desk and typewriter. The codes themselves, the code information, as you can see on this cabinet here, is divided into A group and B group. It's divided into two parts. A group will never handle B group information, and B group will never handle A group information. But they must work together to create the actual missile code. And you can see on the top of this cabinet, there are two locks, one for A group and one for B group. As well as the key cabinet over here, we also have two locks, one for A group, one for B group. And now we can actually move forward into the vault area. This, at the time, was one of the most highly classified areas of the U.S. military. You needed to be here to get in here. But what's interesting is that the most highly classified area of this base is held secure by these two, essentially, master lock padlocks. That's it. No other security system is here. Okay, so again, A group and B group, each has their own lock. They would remove them, and you could then open the door. Inside, we have the missile codes computer itself. All right, so now I'm standing in the vault. The door would be closed. Okay, and inside we have our codes computer. The missile codes come in two types. The first is the enable code, which essentially cocks the gun. It's what enables the missile to activate all of its systems. And we will discuss that when we get into the launch capsule and go through a launch sequence. The second code that is developed here is the actual launch code. This is the code that orders the missile to fire. A little piece of trivia: for the first 7 years that this system was in operation, the code was the actual launch code was in fact 00000000. They did not have the computer set up to actually develop new codes, so that was the default. It wasn't until 7 years into the operation that the computer came online and we were able to actually develop new codes. But it's quite a scary thought to know that that was the code for 7 years. On the computer, you can see that there are hard drives for both A group and B group. These could be removed, and then the tapes would be taken out to the missile fields and installed by hand into each missile's ground test computer. It had to be done by hand. It could not be transmitted, and that is so that nobody could intercept. If we could do it, possibly the Soviets could do it, and that would not be good. So you would have two controllers sitting at this computer, and they would work in tandem to develop the launch and enable codes. So from here, we're going to move on to an actual launch capsule, so you can see what life was like for the Missileers in their little home in the hole.